Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Diana Sviton, and I'm Director of the Office of Global Learning here at FDU. And the Office of Global Learning, in partnership with University College, is very pleased to be hosting today's events. This morning, we are privileged and honored to have with us His Excellency, Andras Simonyi. Dr. Simonyi served as the Ambassador of Hungary to the United States from 2002 to 2007, where he worked with the U.S. administration, Congress, and the private sector to further bilateral relations and EU-U.S. relations. As ambassador, he led efforts to establish better common position between the U.S. and the EU on Cuban transition, and he worked with the U.S. administration and Congress on anti-terrorism and energy security issues. He has been a regular in the Washington media and a guest on CNN, C-SPAN, and Comedy Central's Colbert Report. Ambassador Simonyi is Vice President of the Hungarian Atlantic Council and serves on the board for the Center for Democratic Transition. He holds a PhD in political science from Budapest University and is a frequent lecturer on security issues, transatlantic relations, and the problems of military reform and NATO enlargement. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Simonyi.
Well, good morning. I'm a little jet-lagged. Just arrived in the United States yesterday. And have you heard of, there was an actress in the United States by the name of Zsa Zsa Gabor. I don't know, it's the young generation probably hasn't heard of her, but was married a few times, I think maybe 6 or 7 times, and the 5th husband apparently said at the wedding, I know what is expected of me, but I don't know how to make it interesting. So let me start, that's the way I want to start, because I have no idea what is expected of me. I'm going to try to make it interesting anyhow. I had this huge dilemma because I come from part of the world that 20 years ago went through an incredible change. I mean, it was a revolution. We turned things upside down. And also, Hungary and the rest of Central Europe was part of an incredible focus of attention for a long time. Have you heard of the 1956 revolution? Who's studying Central Europe? Who's studying Europe in this group? Who's studying history? Who's studying international politics? Who's studying, ooh, that's we're getting close. Okay, 1956, I just want you to know, and you might make a little note here, a side note here. 1956 was when the Hungarians stood up against Soviet occupation and communism. And actually, we made the first crack in the wall of communism. And then it made it possible, bless you, in good 20 years later, that crack became a big opening. And Central Europe walked free. And I just want to make sure that you understand that I come from a country where I had lived under a communist domination for the longer part of my life, but I have now been part of change in Central Europe, in particular Hungarian change. Hungary has come from being a country dominated by the Soviet Union to be one of the very close allies of the United States. And honestly, I had never in my lifetime, I wouldn't have ever imagined that in my lifetime, Hungary would be a country that is member of the European Union, part of the West, is an ally of the United States, is a friend of the United States, and I can openly say it to an American public that I come from a country that is a friend of the United States. That's huge. You don't know because you have lived all your life, and if you're doing the right thing, that's the way it's going to stay. You will be living in a free and democratic country forever. But what I'm going to try to explain in my lecture is, don't take this for granted. And I think a part of the lesson is that we all, free nations, we all have to hold hands to figure out what to do with the world, how to fix the problems that we have, how to fight wars when it is necessary to protect our freedom. And I know you hate it. I know you don't like these words, but it's a fact that you have to be ready for that. But finally, also understanding that we, the free nations of the West, and in particular the United States, cannot just do it, cannot win the hearts and minds of people by arms only. You will need what is called soft power. And I'm going to try to explain to you how I, as a diplomat, use this soft power as a tool. Now, you can't leave the room before the end of the lesson, the lecture, at least not the first part. I have a surprise video at the end of the lecture. That is, it's the first time it's being shown in public, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. But let me also say, I have a very strong devotion to the transatlantic relationship. I want to make sure that it's not something that came to me through learning. I'm going to tell you about my childhood experience that made a difference, that has brought me very, very close to the minds of the American people. I have never, ever wanted to be an American. I'm a Hungarian, I'm a European. You don't need no more Americans. You're plenty. But what I have been is a very, very strong supporter of a close relationship between the United States and Europe. In 1963, I was lucky to be in Denmark for a few years, and I was hanging out with American children because I thought they were cool. They were reading comic books. I loved it. I sang at their local church. I was a choir boy at the American church. Can you believe that? I still have the robe. And one day, the father of my best friend, Billy Hansen, Reverend Hansen, one day said, you know, come over because we have a visitor coming to our home and I'd like you to meet this person. And he is on his way from Oslo back to the United States because he's receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. And I went over, and there's this very nice African-American gentleman there, and he introduces himself, and he said, my name is Martin Luther King. So I just want you to know that my history of an understanding of America, being close to the United States, American culture, is pretty much a childhood experience. And if you want, that is why I think it is so important that you're exposed to international relations, international contacts, international, you have an international experience very early on. Now, let me ask you this. First, I just want, now I have presented my credentials. I want you to present your credentials. First, how many of you are from the United States proper? Okay, that's a majority. How many of you are not from the United States? Okay, where are you from?
I'm from West Africa, Liberia.
You're from Liberia, okay?
I'm from India.
You're from India. Where in India?
South India.
South. Okay, good. My nephew was born in India, just to put the record straight. Okay, because I want you to know, I'm going to be talking about how I see America and how we Europeans see America, and then I'm going to tell you about the diplomacy, the diplomatic work I've been doing in Washington. We've agreed that I will speak for about 30, 35 minutes, and then we'll have a question and answer